Welcome everyone. In this video, let's deploy the application that we made in the last video, which just sends the hello world when we visit the root route. So let's get started. So Heroku is a platform as a service. So we can host our applications in variety of languages across, you can see here, Node.js, Ruby, Java, and many things. So we'll be hosting a Node.js application. If you go to heroku.com and click on this sign up button if you don't have an account, or if you have one, you can just click on login and log into your Heroku account. I will do it quickly here and click on login, and you will be redirected to a dashboard where we can create our applications. So here we have redirected. I already have an application. Let's create a new one by clicking on that new button. Let me just show you again, it was quick. So this new button, click on this and create a new app, and here you have to name your app. Let's name this as Express Typescript. It's not available app. Okay, this name is available, and there are only two regions currently, and select any region and then click on create app, and this will redirect to your new application that you have just created. And you can see it brought us to this deploy tab. It has so many tabs here. You can see this is overview, this is resources. You can add many resources like add-ons like database or Redis instance and things like that. And you have the deploy, which says how can you deploy on this Heroku app. And you have some metrics, activity, access, and settings. So these are all the things Heroku provides. The main thing that we need is this deploy tab. It gives us three options to deploy. You can see here deployment method. It has three options. First one is using Heroku Git. Second is we can connect our application to GitHub. And third is container registry using Docker. So first thing is to deploy using Heroku Git, we have to have Heroku CLI. So you can just click on this link and open it in a new tab, and it shows you the steps to download and install. Okay, here it has Mac OS version, Ubuntu, and Windows version. So quickly install this, and to check if it's running, you can type Heroku-V. This will give you the version. No problem if you have, like, I have some 3 versions back. No problem at all. It works nevertheless. And next thing we have to do is we have to open our project and initialize a Git repository. So let's quickly do that. Okay, before doing that, I think let's add a git ignore file in here, or else Git will track all of those, which is not required. So in this git ignore, I'm just adding node modules. Okay, so I've just added node modules, as you can see. Now if I just go and initialize a Git repository, git init, so it initialized a Git repository. Now as you can see, we have this extension for Git. So VS Code says if there's new file or if we have added new files. So basically Git is working. One other way to confirm Git is working is you can see ls-a, and you can see this .git folder. This is where magic happens of the Git. So as now Git is initialized, let's follow the next steps. Heroku Git Remote. We have to add this remote repository to our Git repository. So let's add this. So this step requires Heroku CLI. That's why we installed it. We are connecting this application to a remote repository. So I mean a remote Git. So same Git thing also will be connected to the Heroku systems. So click this and this will do its thing. Now it's connected to Heroku's Git. Now what we have to do is git add and commit, and we have to push to the master. So before that, we have to do a few other things. First thing is the port. So basically this is our local system, so we are defining it as 5000. But Heroku may decide it to run in some other port. We don't know, if it's not our computer, so we can't just say any port. So first thing is we have to standardize a port, and the best way to standardize a port is using a environment variable. So what I am doing here is I am saying, let me just write it, 5000. So what I'm saying is I'm gonna listen to an environment variable called port. I'm gonna see if there is a variable called port. If there is an environment variable port, I'm gonna take and listen to that port. If there is no environment variable specified, then we will listen to 5000. So here's the catch. Here's the important part. We don't have to specify this. Heroku has a port environment variable when you deploy a Node.js application. It defines this port, so you don't have to worry. You just have to put this thing, and Heroku sees this and puts its own port, and it will listen on its own port. So this is the first thing. And second thing is, inside of package.json, it looks for a script called start script. So if you don't have a start script, it doesn't deploy anything, so it just throws an error. So let's write scripts. Inside the scripts, first thing is we have to have a start script. So what the start script does is how to start this application. So we are doing Typescript, right? And we are compiling this to JavaScript, and inside this index.js is a file that we have to run. So inside the start script, do node dist/index.js. So this will run our JavaScript file. But you might be thinking, how can we compile this? Because we will not be uploading this to Git. So open your Git ignore and just put the dist. We don't want that, because it's just a compile thing. We can compile on Heroku and immediately deploy. We don't want to push this to the remote repositories or Git repositories. So we have to ignore that thing also. This is a compile JavaScript. So the thing is, we also have to build the process. So to build our TypeScript project and form a dist folder, you have to specify a build script. So in this build script, let's do TSC, only TSC. So TSC will compile it, and it will create a dist folder, and then we are going to start this script with start node dist/index.js. So we can confirm that dist will be present if we run this file, if we run this build script. So it is clearly defined in documentation. If you can see here, customizing the build process, it says if you have a build script, then Heroku will first run that build script, and then it will run the start script. Or if you have two build scripts, you want to do something specific to Heroku, then you can have build and Heroku post build. So post build will take override for the build script. You might want to do some optimization for production version. So if that's the case, then you can use Heroku post build to build in a production mode. So we don't have any specific thing to do like that. So we'll be only using this build script. So we have set up, we already set that thing up. Build will do TSC, and then it will create a dist folder, and we are running it through start. So that's the thing we have to set up. Now let's go and deploy this thing. Before that, we have to add and commit. Then we have to push to the master branch of Git, Heroku Git. So let's add everything, and let's commit as initial commit. And now let's see again, because that's important. Let me just zoom some a bit. Git push Heroku and master. So you can do it like that, or I prefer to change the master to main branch. So let me just do that first. You can see here it's a master branch now, but let me just change it to main branch. You can do that by git branch -m, and it says main. So now as you can see, main is our main branch. So now you can do is git push Heroku main. This will trigger lots of processes and it will try to deploy our application. So let's read the logs. These are very important. Node.js app is detected and it's creating some runtime variables. As you can see, node modules cached true, node env is production, that's important one, and it's installing the binaries for node and yarn, and it's resolving the node version as 14.x, and it's resolved and it has decided to go with 14.18. You can also specify that, no problem. It install yarn, it's installing dependencies, it's running the build process. You get this thing? Because it runs this because we have specified this in here. Build as TSC, it's running TSC, it's done in 3 seconds. Pruning dev dependencies, it just removes all the dev dependencies since we don't need that. We have now dist folder that has our JavaScript, and its build is successful, and then it's compressing so that it does some optimizations and it released. Now we can open this application here. It gives a URL. Let's click on it and it opens up in, okay, it opened up in another browser. So as you can see here, we get this hello world here. So it's running, it's perfectly running. So we get this deployment working, and this is one way to do with Heroku CLI. So you might be thinking, how can we add something more to this? So let me come on that. Go. What do I mean is, if I want to add some more routes, like go app.get and /test, and I take my request as a request and response as a response, and then I want to do some JSON message. This is the test route. So now you want to deploy this. How can you do this? That you want these changes to be reflected. So first, what we have to do is, first we have to add this, and let's commit this, add test route, and now we have to do the same thing. We have to push to Heroku git push Heroku main. So this will trigger all those processes again, and first it will push this source code to the Heroku Git, and then it's now running all the things again. It will be faster than previous because we have some cache, and it's running the TSC. It's done in 3 seconds. It's building things, everything is done, it's compressing, and compress is launched. Now if you just go to that URL again and let's refresh, let's check if it's working. Yeah, now let's go to /test route. There we go, we got our JSON message. So this is the basic thing, basic way you can deploy your Node.js applications to Heroku using Heroku CLI.